Now,
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:06, and we're fired up and ready to go here in this final hour of the Wednesday, December 27th edition of O'Connor and Company. Happy New Year to everybody. Merry Christmas still. In fact, we're going to talk in just a moment about keeping those Christmas decorations up. Some people are taking them down already. What's wrong with you? We'll get to that in a moment. Also, at 8:35, we're going to talk to Julio Rosas. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock, who I think you keep your Christmas decorations up until, what, like St. Patrick's Day, right?
Oh, stop. No, absolutely not. But I keep them up probably a week after the New Year.
Look how outraged you are.
No, I am, because I just happen to have some neighbors who keep it up year-round, and it really annoys me.
It's like, oh, they're really enjoying the season. No, they're just lazy.
They're lazy.
Really just lazy.
Exactly.
Joining us right now is Shawn Carney. Now, Shawn Carney is the president and CEO of 40 Days for Life. And his op-ed over at Town Hall really caught our eye because you saw this story, Julie, about this sort of satanic setup at the Iowa State Capitol.
Yes.
And I've always seen this whole Satanist movement as just sort of like this ironic, a-religious group of people who just like to push back on outward displays of Christianity and say, oh, yeah, well, if you embrace that and put that in the public square, then you have to accept Satan. I don't really think of them as legit Satan worshipers, right?
No, I don't either. No,
well, that's why we brought Shawn on, because actually there are indications that there is a growing theme of demonic worship in this country that is legit. I mean, we do know that there are demons, Shawn. We know they're out there. If you are a Christian, it's weird to me, people who profess to be Christians but don't recognize the reality of demons. If you're a Christian and you believe Christianity as held out in Scripture and tradition, then you have to also believe in Satan and the demons.
Yeah, certainly Jesus did, and certainly Satan believes in the power of Jesus. By the way, thank you for reminding me that St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. That's a good thing right now to do that.
It's a good tip. Yes, you're welcome.
And he was not a fan of the demons either.
He wasn't
at all. So,
right.
yeah. It's you're right though. There is this kind of, are they legit? Do they really like sit in their houses and worship Satan? Because most of those people don't talk about it at cocktail parties. The devil does really well when he's not the center of attention. And so there is a goofy part to this, like let's make the Christians mad by talking about Satan, he. But then there's a very serious faction to it, which is they want to use Satan to mock Christianity, which is definitely evil. But they want to do it at Christmas. And I wrote that op-ed because I think that's just a loser in the culture war. There's a lot of people that don't believe that Jesus rose from the dead, that don't celebrate Christian as a religious holiday, but they like the Christmas season. And they watch the Thanksgiving Day parade because they want to see Santa Claus at the end. And they appreciate that now all of a sudden we hold doors open for people because it's December and Michael Bublé is singing in the background. And they like that season. And I think attacking Christmas by putting satanic displays next to nativity scenes is a loser. Even in 2023, as divided and angry we are as a culture, people are like, just leave Mariah Carey alone. She's singing on the radio and I want to listen to it. And keep the devil away from me.
Wow.
Yeah. You've also talked about how this affects children. And we've seen a lot of really perverse, upsetting, just completely inappropriate things in the schools more recently, this year, but it's been growing. Talk to me about how you see some of these really demonic forces affecting our youth.
Yeah, well, it's just there's an overall attack, not only on religion in general. We certainly see that with the Jews now in the world. But on innocence.
Yes.
And you're just not allowed to be innocent. And there's this whole trend of Santa isn't real, and they were attacking Santa Claus. I've just never known anybody who hates Santa Claus. I mean, the guy runs around and gives you stuff for free. He probably, the Democrats should love him. And so I don't understand why. I don't understand why
He's got a Bernie Sanders thing going on, doesn't he? I got to rethink this whole thing.
Well, I think Santa's a little bit more groomed, I think. But, there's just this thing where we're going to choose Satan over Santa Claus, and we're going to do it to tell children Santa isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is kind of the direction, I'm totally fine with that. Because I don't think it's a winner. I think it's desperate. These idiotic people who named an abortion facility, the satanic temple that named an abortion facility in New Mexico after Samuel Alito's mom, that's just basically raising your hand saying, I'm not serious about this.
Yeah, and I'm an awful human being.
And I'm an awful person, yeah.
Yeah. Shawn Carney is our guest, president and CEO of 40 Days for Life, which is the world's largest pro-life organization, by the way. So where do you come down on, because, listen, I used to have a very libertarian streak where I would say, well, if we put a Christmas tree up, then we need to make room for the Satanists to put their little altar up. But I've sort of rethought that it's like, no, objectively speaking, Satanism is evil. And if you look at what Satanists claim they stand for, which is not just atheism, they believe in an evil force, then we as a government, we as a society and a community, we're allowed to say, well, we have to have equal time for evil. No, we don't. We could have equal time for legitimate, uplifting, and positive religions, but we don't have to make room in the public square for Satanists. So I'm okay with the governor, even though in this case the governor did not step up and do anything. I'm okay with the governor saying, go ahead and sue me, take me to court. I'm not going to allow the Satan altar here for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has to sleep at night. So this is why we have elected officials locally. I'm very libertarian with this stuff, too. So I don't mind it. I don't mind the free speech thing. And we can let the market decide. And the market decided in Iowa because the Navy vet went and cut the head off of the statue of Satan. So, and then he went over.
Well, I don't know if that's the market per se, but yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah. But he's like, if you're going to put this garbage up and you're going to be antagonistic and you're going to do it at Christmas and you're going to put him next to Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, I'm going to cut his head off. And then I'm going to go turn myself in. God bless that guy. So, I think what you're saying is it's in the spirit of it. And number one, the spirit is evil, but also the spirit is obnoxious in doing it at Christmas and in the context of the Nativity. So to me, I like observing why this is like a trend. Like this is like the new exciting thing that we're going to promote Satan. We're going to criticize Santa Claus, and we're going to try to get our message of the devil is actually a really cool guy out there. And I just don't think whether it, Planned Parenthood, they don't get in business with Satanists. This is a new thing. They've tried to play the God card by having these pastors endorse abortion. They have a religious council. It doesn't have a Satanist on it. So I don't know where this like new goofy, we're going to be on the left and we're going to parade around and promote the devil got traction.
Right.
But it definitely came out during Christmas.
Satan was certainly at play when pastors came out and made the Christian case for abortion. So I guess by just going directly to Satan now, they're cutting out the middleman. It's efficient this way. You mentioned Mariah Carey though, and I think that's a good point. Let's just enjoy our Mariah Carey and leave Christmas alone. We can agree though that Satan is seemingly at work through Taylor Swift, right?
I'm not taking that bait. I've got teenagers.
Well, he's a wise man.
Yeah. So here's what Taylor Swift is amazing at. Making an insane amount of money every single day.
Well, there you go.
that girl can market anything, and I'm a George Strait guy, so I like George Strait.
Shawn Carney, President and CEO of 48 Days for Life. Merry Christmas, sir, and enjoy your Christmas decorations right up until March 16th. Thank you, sir. It is 8:15 WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the 5, Jamie Wittens. And do you think I'm going to get some response, some pushback on my social media mentions for saying Taylor Swift is at work with the devil?
Yes.
Jamie, somebody might take issue with that. I'm excited. I was bored today. I figured let's explode Twitter. I'm
a Swiftie. I told you that before.
I know. So Julie Gunlock, did you have one of those dads who was like his religion was actually efficiency? And it's like, you wake up on December 26th, crack of dawn. All right, let's get these decorations down. Christmas is over. Let's take down the tree. Let's go. The lights have to come down. There are people who are like this. Like if they don't take down their decorations by New Year's, they've failed in some way. They're maniacs.
Yes, I'm aware of those people. My dad was not one of them, and he allowed my mom loved the season, so there was no taking things down. I mean, maybe he wanted to. I've never really asked him, but no, they stayed up for a while. When it was time, it was like an hour. Like everything was put away.
Well, he's a old Navy guy, right? So everything was done at everyone had their job, military, you start logistics, right? Do you have a rule of thumb though as to like I've always been told as a Catholic, it's like, okay, it's Advent season, you got your wreath and you slowly, as you and then Christmas Day is not the end. Christmas Day is the beginning.
It
is day one of Christmas season.
Eve is the beginning. Christmas Eve is the beginning.
And then at the very least, you keep everything up to Epiphany.
Yes.
Which I believe is that's where we got 12 days of Christmas, right? Epiphany is the 12th day after Christmas
After
Day.
Christmas, right.
Epiphany is the day on the liturgical calendar where you celebrate the Magi, who visited the baby Jesus.
Some people just consider it a reason to drink for longer, but it.
Well, I did
mention
we were Catholic.
If you want to get all Catholic, all right, but go on.
That's how I reach most of my epiphanies. Now, some people apparently there's like a Christmas tide season that goes through January 31st?
Yes, and the people who don't take their crap down are those people.
Okay, so clearly you have answered my question. There is a line. There is a moment. What is it? Is it like the middle of January? I feel like middle of January. Like, let's move on, people. It's over. Right. Clean up. I mean, I think part of my obsession with this, because I live in a very small house, we have to be very ordered. As I tell my kids all the time, I have, there's a place for everything. Put the thing in the place. The dining room, like why can't your coat go in the closet? My dad built my kids' lockers, but they drape their coats over the dining room chairs, and it never lasts more than an hour because I'm always yelling at them to put them away. But anyway, this is when you have a small house, you got to keep things ordered. All right. You can keep them ordered with Christmas decorations up, though. The folks over at Catholic Answers, which is one of my favorite, they have a great podcast, Catholic Answers Live, and it's basically they're a Catholic apologetics organization. They tweeted out a picture of Jesus sort of, looking halfway into the frame, looking right at you, and it says, "Did I just catch you taking down your Christmas tree?" What are you doing over there? Cardinal Timothy Dolan actually put out a statement about this. Let's just do the shorter version here, where he cuts to the chase about leaving the Christmas tree up.
And by the way, don't you take yours down till the 12 days of Christmas are over. The Christmas celebration goes all the way to the Epiphany, which is the Sunday after New Year's. So you keep your Christmas tree up till then.
There you go. That's a cardinal. He's a prince of the church, for God's sake. That's there's your answer.
Fine.
So 12 days. That's the number, Epiphany, and then you should start thinking about taking it down. No, you should actually take it down.
Yes.
Right.
First of all, if you have a real Christmas tree, the thing's going to dry out.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got all the stuff on the floor.
Oh, it becomes a fire hazard. In Rockville, we just had a huge house fire because of a Christmas tree that was dried out. Yeah.
Did Chevy Chase run out? Of the house?
I
just saw that movie,
Yes. But see, I'm talking about Rockville. You mentioned Chevy Chase, and I immediately think you mean the neighborhood.
I know. See, you can't do that around here. You're right.
So here's the thing. Barbara Britt's doing news today, right? I've heard Barbara Britt doing her.
Yeah, I think so.
I would love Barbara Britt. Merry Christmas, Barbara Britt, by the way. She's
Merry
listening.
Christmas.
We love
she's
her.
So nice.
John Matthews usually does our news. We love John. He's on vacation. Yeah. So I can reveal to you. No, it's true. This is legendary. In fact, I've interviewed him on the show about this before. John Matthews, our stalwart morning news anchor here on O'Connor and Company, keeps the Christmas tree up all year round.
What?
And look at you. Oh yeah. It's like middle August. Christmas trees right there in the living room.
No.
Yeah. So and it's not, I assure you it's not out of laziness. It's because he just loves it and his wife loves it. So John's house is that house on the block that is like the Griswold's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
when you drive in,
goes
and
crazy?
he lives in Maryland. I'm not going to, in Montgomery County, I'm not going to say the city, but everyone in the neighborhood knows it's that house. And so he goes the extra mile with all the Christmas decorations, and he does take that down. He takes all that stuff down at an appropriate time.
Good.
So he puts the effort in, but he leaves the Christmas tree up year round. And I love that about him.
I do love that.
No, your OCD monkey is going full charge right now. Look at you.
Real judge. I'm like sweating.
You're like
sweating.
You're
I can't.
wringing your hands in anxiety.
It's like killing me.
You'll never look at him the same way again.
Barbara,
every time you come into the office, you're going to say, "Hey, good morning,
him.
John. Is it still up? Really? Is it still up?"
Barbara, don't tell John we had this conversation because I am, honest to God, I can feel myself sweating.
It's 8:23. Coming up, how bad is it on the border? Well, we'll talk to a reporter who spends more time there than certainly the vice president or the president. He's Julio Rosas. Next. It's 8:36 on O'Connor and Company. This Wednesday, the 27th day of December. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. It's Larry O'Connor, Julie Gunlock. Julie, you know we always are beholden to facts first here on this program.
That's right.
And if I get something wrong, I want to correct it as soon as possible. I have been informed that, in fact, Taylor Swift is not a demonic tool of Satan.
Did she call you?
I regret the error. I apologize profusely for. You can understand how I could reach that conclusion.
Totally.
But apparently not the case. Joining. It's Julio Rosas. Let's bring on Julio in the appropriate way to welcome a Latino friend at this time of year. Let's hear it from the governor of
Feliz
Colorado.
Navidad.
There he is.
Feliz Navidad.
Oh, go, brother, go.
Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad.
Si se puede, Julio. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm filing hate crime against you.
Julio Rosas, of course, is the author of the book Mostly Fiery but Mostly Peaceful, the 2020 Riots and the Gaslighting of America. And his Substack that he runs now is the Julio Rosas Substack. You should check that out at juliorosas.substack. Julio, when you see a politician do things like that, the whitest man in America, the governor of Colorado, giving a greeting like that to all of his Latino buddies, do you really want to punch someone or something?
It's just, I mean, I get it's what we would call in the Marine Corps, good initiative, bad judgment. I'm not exactly, what he was trying to go for. I guess, a little goofy thing, but if you're a politician, if you're gonna go for goofy, it has to land, and that did not. And I showed that to my Mexican mother. I said, "Hey, look at this," and the expression on her face said it all. She was just like, "What the heck is this guy doing?" So
by the way, Julio, real fast, I should point out to you, and I apologize for not doing this ahead of time, knowing that you don't speak a lick of Spanish, that song actually means Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
That's a second hate crime charge I'm filing against you.
See, no, don't act like you speak Spanish.
I speak Spanish.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Since
Sí,
when?
No sirves para nada, Larry. That's what we would say.
He sounds good.
Oh, man. All right, dude. We'll let it go. What have you seen lately at the border, though? Seriously, it's
nothing going on down there, right? It's a quiet place.
Yeah.
No, it just seems that every month you would think that it reaches a point where it can't get any worse, and it does. And I really want to stress that at the beginning of everything, it was usually one area along the border that was experiencing a higher surge than normal, and that started with the Rio Grande Valley back in 2021. Then it was Yuma, and then another time it was Eagle Pass, and now it's virtually every sector except for the Big Bend area, which is very, very remote desert. But it just seems that I think part of the reason why we're seeing this surge is because people know we're heading into an election year. And so people are thinking to themselves that if there's any time for them to really get into the country legally like this, they have to do it now before there's a potential change in an administration later on. And so it's really just compounding everything that makes the border crisis the crisis. It just seems that it just really has manifested itself in the worst way possible these past few months.
250,000 in December alone. Is that right?
Yeah, and we're already, because how Border Patrol and Customs keeps track of, they operate on a fiscal year, and so the fiscal year started in October. We're already close to 1 million encounters since October, right? And that does not include the people that are getting away right now. In fact, Texas does help out Border Patrol with gotaways by sending out their brush teams in the countryside. Well, I can tell you that they're unable to do that because even Texas is having to divert personnel to that holding area in Eagle Pass to prevent people from, running away or doing who knows what, just have extra law enforcement on hand. So right now, even in the time for gotaways is even worse than it's been in years past.
And Julio, for those who are processed and they claim they're wanting legit asylum, and they get their hearing date, we've been hearing reports. We had Jenny Terre from Daily Caller News Foundation last week on telling us that she's seeing these citations that people are getting that have their hearing date in 8 years. Are you seeing the same thing? Is that really where we are right now with this?
Yes, and as I was saying, how it was worse because last December when El Paso was experiencing their surge, we were seeing people whose court dates weren't for 5 years. But we've had a whole other year with more people coming in, and so now the norm is getting up to 8, 10 years from now, and so that's why when people are saying that these are just asylum seekers, while that may be true for some, others are openly admitting that they're economic asylum people, which doesn't necessarily apply to the laws that we have. So
there's no such thing as economic asylum.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that people are openly and blatantly taking advantage of the crisis and trying to use our laws that are meant for one thing when they don't necessarily are qualified for that.
I want to ask you one more question, and this is so important because I follow you on Twitter and I see your updates. Tell us about little Bella.
Oh God! Oh no! You're talking about
Come on.
Dog? Oh,
yes.
This is such blatant pandering for attention.
Oh, please.
That
Please.
He
This is
claims
important
that he's
content.
adopted this stray dog. All right,
oh,
go
you're
ahead,
so
Julio.
mean. Come on, tell us about Bella.
Your little stunt here.
Well, so the sad fact with the borderlands on both sides is that there's a lot of strays, and so this time we actually saw a pretty rare. We saw a puppy that was abandoned by a migrant on the Mexican side across from Eagle Pass, and so it's hard to say. She's with me right now. I need to feed her, but she's 3 pounds. We think that she's a terrier mix with some Chihuahua. I'm not entirely sure. We're taking it to the vet today, but yeah, I mean, it would just seem like kind of something that was meant to be. Just because I've had a Chihuahua for 14 years. He passed away in 2021, so been kind of waiting for the opportunity to adopt one, and so we saw her, and we were like, you know what, you're coming home with me, and she's been doing pretty good.
I love it. Thank you for posting her on Twitter. We can all keep up with her.
I'm sorry. It sounds like you're harboring an illegal immigrant canine in your house. You're part of the problem, Julio.
We took her through the port of entry, and we got the A-OK.
Whoa. Oh, I feel confident now then. Great. How do you know she's not from Hamas? How do you know this isn't like there's a terror attack just sitting there waiting to pee on your leg, Julio?
Well, she responds in Spanish too, so I don't think I don't think I have to worry about that.
Julio Rosas, thank you, my friend. Feliz Navidad and
Feliz Navidad.
All right.
Be safe, Waterley.
It's 8:44. All right, that's a wrap. We'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, be decent to each other. That's all we got. We got each other. It's 9 o'clock.